Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 100 of the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast.
Each week, Trading Stocks Made Easy demystifies stock trading and investing so you can profit big. And now, here's the host of Trading Stocks Made Easy, the wealthy investor, Tyrone Jackson.
Hello there. It is Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor, and guess what? We have made it to episode 100. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Sit down. You're all far too kind. That's mighty nice of you. Thank you. You know, they say if you can make it to 100 episodes in the podcast world, you are legit. And as of today, we are officially legit. Now, I always think we've always been legit. You and I have known that. But people kept asking me, what are you going to do for episode 100? What are you going to do for episode 100? And I thought about it. And I spoke to my cabinet. You know, I have a cabinet here, just like the president has a cabinet in the White House. And there were so many opinions going on. And actually, I don't have a cabinet. It just made me feel important to say that. And I thought, you know what? This is really about an episode between me and you. Some of you have binged on the show. Some of you have said that you found the show to be inspirational. Other people like the simplicity, the fact that I'm able to keep stock trading actually very simple. Whatever keeps you listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast, I just want to say some simple words. Thank you, and thank you. You know, I started this podcast because I realized that podcasting was a wonderful way to reach people all around the world. And as all this technology continues to grow, there'll be other ways in which reaching people all around the world becomes a goal. But this happens to be a modality that I very much love. And what I love more than anything else is how many of you have actually come to the live program and we've met in person, and stock market trading has changed your life. You didn't know that all you had to do was open a brokerage account, learn some major and minor strategies, focus on residual income, and it would shape your life in a very positive way. Well, that's why I'm here. I am glad to do it. So to me, there's no better way to celebrate episode number 100 without reminding you of some of the principles that I find very near and dear to me that have impacted my life and I'd like to share with you. And you've heard them on all of the shows over and over and over again. And I just want to talk about a couple of them right now. I've been trading in the stock market for now over 21 years, which is amazing how time flies. And one of the first things I learned about trading was this idea of your money beliefs. You see, when I first started trading, I thought as long as you had a great strategy, you would always make money. But what I've learned is it's not just the great strategy, it's really your belief systems about what is possible that puts all of those strategies to work. For example, one of the things I always like to say that you and I are sort of kind of like traffic cops. Right? If you could visualize a traffic cop in the middle of a busy intersection, directing traffic either towards him or away from him, then you're on the same page with me. You know, traffic cops very often wear those white gloves because they can be seen from 100 feet or more. Well, I've always said that your consciousness is like that traffic cop, and you can direct tens of thousands of dollars towards you just by shifting your thinking. And you can also direct tens of thousands of dollars away from you just by having a negative attitude about money. Now, the cool thing about shifting your consciousness is it costs nothing, right, to change your belief systems or to open up to the idea that maybe you were meant to have more money than you could possibly imagine, live a comfortable life, help your family, and contribute to the world. Right? So what I've learned from teaching people is no matter how much money you come to the Wealthy Investor Program with, whether it's $5,000 or $500,000, it's your consciousness that's the first thing we need to talk about because that's really what's going to make the difference. You see, I've seen people who have $500,000 in their brokerage accounts and they live like they have $35,000. So even though they have enough money to generate $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month trading in the stock market, the feeling inside them is as if they have nothing. And that's called, generally speaking, a poverty consciousness. So yes, you can have a poverty consciousness and have hundreds of thousands of dollars in a mutual fund or at your disposal. If you have a poverty consciousness and it feels like you only have $35,000 or $5,000, if the reality is a little bit differently, that's how you're going to live your life. Scarcity is usually related to fear. And who wants to live a life totally and completely in fear? I know I don't. But here's the thing that's really interesting, and this all relates to the amount of money that's coming in your life. When you live with a poverty consciousness or fear, you tend to choose other people to be around you who share those same beliefs. So as I say to you many times in this podcast, if you'd like to earn a lot more money, you're going to have to first examine your friendship network, and in most cases, you're going to have to change them. You see, to become wealthy, to become rich from anything, you have to change the people who surround you. And that's yet another reason why I'm so grateful that you actually allow me into your life, because for some members of my listening audience, I am that first friend that represents a shift in their consciousness. The next point that I want to point out, which we talk about all the time on this show, is trading time for dollars. Now, if you were like me, I was raised by a single mom, which I talk about constantly. And my mother told me the best thing that could ever happen for me in life is that I get a job where I can earn overtime. Because at least I'd have the comfort of a steady job, and maybe I can earn a few extra bucks if I stayed later at work, which is a very working class or middle class thing to do, to exchange physical labor for time. Well, what I've learned is wealthy people simply don't do that, right? Why? When you're trading time for dollars, there's only but so much time in the week, right? So there's only but so much you can actually earn. But when you stop trading time for dollars and you shift your consciousness and you learn how to make money work for you, then your earning power is infinite, right? So if you're taught to change time for dollars, guess what? Your income is going to be capped. Now, that income could be capped from $30,000 to, let's say, $300,000, but you're never going to make millions of dollars because you put yourself in a constraint, a context where earning is limited. But if you start to put money in the stock market and those stocks rise, you can collect dividends and you're actually building wealth. And what is my definition of wealth? It's having more than what you need at the end of the month after you've paid your bills. So a lot of people think, well, Tyrone, I only have, $700 left over. How is that going to make me rich? And the answer is simple. It's what you do with that $700 that creates financial freedom. So that's really all wealth is. After you pay your bills, how much are left over? What do you do with the money that's left over to make it multiply? And these are some of the very, very simple principles I talk about all the time here on the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. What are you doing with your money? You see, you have to wake up and become conscious about your habits. Why? All success is nothing more than a series of positive habits put together. When you change your financial habits, you are in the process of doing what? Changing your life. It's a very, very simple principle, but it's very positive at the same time. Now, another idea that I espouse here on the show, and we hit over and over and over again, is that success leaves clues. Man, I wish I could have made that one up, but I really didn't. So what do I mean by that? If you want to be rich, or if you want to be wealthy, if you want to have more money than you've ever had in your life, why don't you simply model people who have already done it? You see, they've already carved the path. Many of them have written books about it. Many of them have workshops and seminars and programs you can participate in that help you with your wealth consciousness and discover those habits. What many of the people who lead the movement on how to grow rich, what they don't have is a modality, a way of doing it that's really simple. Now, that's fine. All of us play our part here in the world. But if we could learn from successful people what patterns actually work, we could simply employ them, right? And we don't have to reinvent the wheel if someone has already done it. So that's what I love each and every time that you join me. I have mostly my students on the show. Why? So they can talk to you about how they found the Wealthy Investor Program, how it's changed their life, what they've struggled with, where they've lost money, where they had to shift their consciousness. et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, when I'm out and about in the world, people now stop me and go, hey, you're that wealthy investor guy. I love your show. And I say, thank you. And they ultimately say, are those people really real? And as I always say, yes, they're really real. So I have them come on to share their experience so that you can benefit from them. Now, if success leaves clues, and we know that there is more than one billionaire in the world these days, there are actually hundreds of billionaires, the only question left is, what do those billionaires do to make their money grow? Well, I can tell you what they're not doing. They're not fixing up houses on the weekend and flipping them. Right? So Mark Zuckerberg, who at the time of this recording is worth over $50 billion, is he fixing up houses like you see in late night infomercial ads and flipping them all across the country? No. How did he get his billions from? From starting a company, taking it public, and the amount of shares that he owns in the stock market. Success leaves clues. Bill Gates, at least in the top 10 wealthiest people in the world. Is he flipping houses on the weekend? Probably not. Where does his wealth come from? Starting a company and taking it public. And that's what's made him a billionaire. Warren Buffett, you ever hear of him? Considered by many to be the number one billionaire in the stock market. How did he accumulate his wealth? Over time. Now, he started companies taking them public, and then he's also bought companies that are public. What do all three of these magnificent gentlemen have in common? Well, first of all, they're innovators in their own right, but they all own hundreds of millions of shares of a variety of different companies in the stock market. If it's good enough for them, shouldn't it be good enough for you? Success leaves clues, costs nothing to change your mind and your consciousness, and stop focusing on trading time for dollars, because the alternative to being successful is right before you. Back in a moment.
Want to increase your stock market trading profits? Then you need to start your monthly membership to WITradeschool.com right now. Don't know which stocks to choose for trading in today's market? No problem. Just follow Tyrone Jackson's hot stock picks inside WITradeschool.com. At WITradeschool.com, you can also follow Tyrone's weekly stock market tutorials and investing advice. Plus, each week you can submit your trading and investing questions directly to our staff, and Tyrone will answer them as part of our weekly video Q&A sessions. Begin your membership right now and you'll get instant access to WITradeschool.com's video library. That means you'll get to know all of Tyrone's major and minor trading strategies, including covered call writing and volatility trading for fast, sexy profits. Tyrone Jackson, the wealthy investor, has helped his students earn thousands of dollars per month trading stocks online from home. These are people just like you. In addition to a successful podcast, Tyrone's editorial content has been featured on CBSMoneyWatch.com, NASDAQ.com, and YahooFinance.com. So what are you waiting for? Follow Tyrone Jackson's red-hot stock trades and investment strategies today. Don't wait. Start your monthly membership at WITradeschool.com right now.
And welcome back to the celebration of episode number 100 of the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. All right, we were talking about some concepts that cause us to change our thoughts, that then cause us to change our habits. And one of the habits that I discussed right before the break is that we're able to do what? Model successful people. And we know that the stock market consistently makes more millionaires on a predictable and regular basis than any other modality. Now, what's exciting about being in the stock market, as many of you don't know this, there was a time when you didn't have access to Wall Street. The internet has made it possible so that anyone who has $500 or more can open a brokerage account and now tap Wall Street. That is a phenomenon that is really only about 15, maybe 17 years old. So without the internet, I wouldn't be reaching you now. And for those of you who are students of mine, you wouldn't be having the success that you're having if the digital world hadn't exploded the way that it has and the way that it's going to in the future. Okay, so I just want to end this celebration, first of all, by keeping it brief and talk to you about some of the people who I've met on my journey as the wealthy investor and how their lives have changed. Now, sometimes I get people who do my program in the live program or online, and they've inherited $1 million or more. those people are surprised to see that they can earn $10,000 to $50,000 a month doing what? Selling covered calls. And you know, the number one strategy that I preach here is covered call writing. Why? It's the one strategy that generates guaranteed income whether the stock is bought away from you or not. All you have to do is own shares. And because you own shares, you can generate income off of those shares by selling an option to someone that you don't know. Now, options, when I first started trading, used to expire on the third Friday of the month. In other words, I'd buy all my stocks, I'd wait and see to the third Friday of the month what happens. And then if the stock was bought away from me, I made additional profit. If it wasn't, I'd sell another covered call. Since I started trading, options have now become weekly affairs. In other words, you can buy a stock on Monday, sell an option that expires on Friday, or a week and a half away, or 2 weeks, et cetera, et cetera. Where do I think we're going? Well, it looks like we're going to the point where you can buy a stock on Monday, sell the option on Monday, and be out of the trade by the end of the day. Of course, you need to be trading in volumes, at least 1,000 shares a day, because anybody who knows anything about extrinsic value, those call option premiums are probably going to be closer to 10 to 15 cents on the day. Now, why is the industry moving towards daily covered calls, the ability to sell options that expire 1 or 2 days out? It's because it's very profitable for your broker, okay? The person who allows you to have access to Wall Street. So covered calls are gaining in popularity in an overwhelming way, and that's great for you and I because it speeds up the process. It'll ultimately speed up the rate of return on the dollars that we have in the stock market. So there's so much to look forward to as we move ahead. Technology, as you know, is changing our world greatly. And if you want to stay on top of it all, then you want to do what? Have a financial education. Because the strategies that I used to teach, let's say 10 years ago, 11 years ago, many of them still work, but they don't work the way that they're going to work in the future. Okay? So what is your job? It's to A, get a financial education, to B, get excited about the fact that you live in a world where Wall Street is literally just a click away. You should get excited about the fact that you don't have to live your whole life trading time for dollars. There really is another way out. And you should get excited about the fact that you and I have this great relationship. And when things change in the market, in simplistic terms, right, I can share that information with you. And a lot of people say, oh, Tyrone, you're so smart. I'm not really so smart. I'm just able to break things down in a way that hundreds of thousands of people are able to understand when it comes to trading and investing in the market. I hope you will continue to join me in the future as we play with this podcasting format, bring you great stories of great people who have changed their lives. And just know that when you place your head down on the pillow tonight, you could be one of them. Hey, listen, thank you for the first 100 episodes of Trading Stocks Made Easy. And I can't wait to see you in the next episode and on episode 200 of this magnificent program. As always, I ask you to stay open, stay positive, because the best, the very best in your life is just around the corner. I'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Be sure to rate and review our show on iTunes. While you're on iTunes, be sure to click the subscribe button and you'll automatically receive our next episode.